Is Furniture Company bringing you the show tonight. LAUNIUS, LaniusFurnitureCompany.com. I always spell it for you because you could misspell it and not be able to find them if you want to go online, perhaps, and look at some of the brand names and some of the things they've got going on. Y'all, this is a complete furniture store. When I say complete, I mean the things you want, the latest styles, things people want in their home, and a lot of it. It's an acre of furniture under one, an acre of furniture under one roof. And by the way, when I say that, that's the display building. That's the main building. They've got a huge warehouse operation. So they've got other examples of some of the stuff you'll see on the floor. It may be in different colors or different styles in the back, so to speak. So always ask about that. They may have, I tell this story sometimes a couple summers ago, a couple of 3 summers ago. I was fixing up a room in one of my little overflow, sort of extra little space areas. Needed a couple of sort of chair and a halves to create a little sitting area. And I went into Lonnie's and I walked around, finally sat on a Lazy Boy fixed stationary piece. It was the most comfortable chair. I knew I wanted it as soon as I sat on it, but it was in a baby blue. So I asked John, I said, would you by chance have two of these in another color so I can match them? He had four in a kind of an off-white oatmeal kind of color that worked perfectly for what I needed. He already had, well, actually, I think he really had six of them, but he definitely had my two that I needed. And they brought them to me. They were heavy. They had it delivered coming by me. He said, we'll just get them to you. And they did. Those young men were so nice. I'm glad they brought them in because these things were super heavy. I tell you those little stories to let you know that the stuff they sell are the brands you trust, the brands you know. It's well-built stuff. They don't sell cheap things, and they don't sell overpriced things. All the prices are fair, even when they're not running a special. From every now and then, Reggie will call me and say, hey, look, we're going to discount some Lazy Boys. We're going to do this and that. So we'll let you know about those when they come up for special occasions. But this is a complete furniture store. Everything for the home, inside and out, all of it under one roof. And I say it a lot, their mattress section is bigger than a lot of mattress stores. So go see them at Lonnie's Furniture Company, and y'all get fixed up, and they will take good care of you. Lonnie'sFurnitureCompany.com. Well, man, we're already off to the races today, and we've had a couple of good calls already. If y'all want to get in here early, bring it, 545-9950. As we scroll through all the headlines today, the two biggies are, of course, the shutdown. I guess we throw the SAVE Act in there and bundle all that into Senate inaction, which is also part of the airport mess story. And then we got the Iran situation. We've had developments on all of those today. By the way, Mark Wayne Mullen has been sworn in today as the Homeland Security Secretary. It's a massive agency. If you want my opinion, it's too big and it's become hard to fix, and it's kind of unaccountable. We put together Homeland Security, if y'all remember, right after 9/11. The beef after 9/11 was that agencies had intelligence on the hijackers that was not being shared with other agencies. In other words, some red flags had gone off in some agencies that saw they were taking training to fly planes, but didn't take the part where they landed planes. The visa program where they overstayed their visas, all the elements that came together for 9/11, all the things that were missed, was blamed on all these agencies being separated, not being able to talk to each other. The idea was they'd bundle them all under one umbrella and call it Homeland Security. Well, then they created a beast. I think the last time I checked, Homeland Security has like 400,000 employees or something ridiculous. And the thing is as big as it is and as many agencies are involved, it becomes slow and bureaucratic. And then their mission has gotten exponentially harder. And all the terrorists have to do is get away with one situation. They get away with one. They got, as the saying goes, they got to be right one time. So Mark Wayne Mullen takes over an agency that's going in 100 directions, and they got a defunding crisis because of this selfish stunt the Democrats are pulling by trying to hold off on the funding to get to leverage things that aren't even related to what they want in the funding. It's just that they've got a gun to the country's head. Now that's starting to fail on them, and we've talked a little bit about that last hour with, ironically, the agency of all the derision of the left is ICE, and they've shown up like angels of mercy at the airports and are helping the lines go down and taking good care of people that are standing in line, doing a tremendous amount of PR for their agency after a bunch of unfair treatment in the media and in other quarters. These are interesting times, y'all. Now, the other thing that happened today, I'm going to go back to the Iran war because we got some other little stories. I got stories about Florida's House voted to end property taxes. We got King Charles coming. I know AJ's super excited about that. He's coming in April. I ain't even mentioned, let me get this in there before I get too serious about the war. How about my boy Damian Mitchell last night, AJ? My man won $32,000 on Wheel of Fortune.
Yeah. I already asked him for my $25, and
you already hit him up with some cash?
Yeah, he rejected that. It didn't go too well.
See, now that Damian's rich, he's going to find out how much the government takes out of that $32,000.
Mm-hmm.
They don't leave you much, man. It's gone before you get it.
Yeah.
But man, I didn't tune in at 6:30 because I'm post show and I got to eat. And I got things going on at that hour right after the show, messages to catch up on. And then I realized what time it was, turned it on, and I caught the end of it when he was doing the little final answer. And then of course when I saw his money amount, I said, well, that means he won. He got to that final thing they do. I haven't watched Wheel of Fortune in a long time.
Yeah.
So the whole station, the whole building, all of us are proud of him, and Andrew has already nominated him to be the mayor of Maplesville.
I mean, look, I talked to him earlier today, and I was like, hey, you might want to think about doing that. Or at least, as, when you walk in, you drive into Maplesville.
Yeah.
And, just like when you drive into the state of Alabama, it says, Kay Ivey, governor. When you drive into Maplesville, it just said home of Damian Mitchell. And he's like, yeah, how much would that sign cost? And I was like, well, it's probably going to cost you $32,115.
Didn't he finally get married? I think.
No, he's engaged.
Okay, I was about to say.
He's engaged.
He better save half of it too.
Mm-hmm.
You got to give half to the government, and what you got left, you're getting rid of that half on gifts. You done, man.
Uh-huh. Yeah, he's trying to realize it. He's trying to realize it.
No, but he was like typical Damian. He had that big smile, answering the questions. And then our buddy Nick, have we ever had two co-workers on national game shows back to back in the history?
No,
it's crazy.
This is crazy.
So tonight on
tomorrow
night on 3340, Nick Norris, who y'all have heard here from time to time, he sometimes works for us and around the building. Nick is going to be on that Nate Bargatze, whatever
the greatest
that show
average American show.
What is that? I asked you this yesterday and I already forgot. Whatever it is, we're proud of Nick. So we'll be watching another colleague on national TV tomorrow night.
Yeah, and it was so funny. It was like back to back. So I saw Nick's post first. No. I saw Damian's post first. Then I saw Nick's post. I was like, wait a minute. Are y'all on the same show? Did y'all do this together? Did y'all
did they sit around in the back and go, let's get on a game show? How did this happen?
Right.
Do we know that story?
I don't know Nick's story. I know Damian, his story. Yes, he mentioned it on with Andrew. This happened last year, and they finally had reached out to him.
Yeah.
And he taped the show back in February.
Yeah, and then they can't talk about it. And they'll do a bunch of them in one day. They'll tape a bunch of those shows and knock them all out and then run them and then rerun them. He may be back on later because I think they rerun them during the year.
Yeah. And then I think he's in the winner's circle, and then he has to go through that whole process again, and then hopefully get back on television for another chance to win some money. And let's see how long this run can go. So shout out to Damian, and then get a chance to see Nick and see what he's up to on this show tomorrow, because I don't really know much about the game show. I don't know if it's questions and phoning a friend type of thing, but I'm intrigued to see what this show's about tomorrow.
I guess it'd be a good time for me to go ahead and announce that AJ and I are also going to be on the national show as they bring back cops. We're going to be on the run, and they'll be trying to track us down. I'm just kidding.
I missed that memo. Oh, I'm supposed to be doing the ride along, and you're supposed to be the guy that they chase.
We Crockett in Tubbs, man. We're gonna reenact all that stuff. We're gonna make it cool. I actually saw a clip from that show the other day. You scrolling around and stuff pops up online. It was the scene when they first played In the Air Tonight, and their crew. I don't even know what was going on, because to be honest with y'all, I think Miami Vice came on Friday nights, and I was in high school, and you ain't sitting around watching TV on Friday night. We're out, doing whatever going on dates, whatever high school kids do. So I didn't really watch a lot of Miami Vice, but everybody thought the show was cool. And so the scene was AJ was Crockett and Tubbs in a convertible cruising, and they put that Phil Collins song on, and I don't know why my camera just wigged out. they put that Phil Collins song on and, played it in the background. And they're going on some mission where they think they're going to die. And he calls home to some girl. And then they keep playing it. It was just badass. I was like, that was TV cinema, man. They don't even do that. They don't do that in modern day sitcoms anymore, any of these shows. It's cheesy. Everything's cheesy.
Yeah. Well, you know what? You just kind of reminded me that they're bringing back another. Okay, they're bringing back Miami Vice again because you had the TV show, then you had the one with Colin Farrell and I think Jamie Foxx, and now you're gonna have Michael B. Jordan and what's his name, Austin Butler.
Okay, I might be able to buy that. I like both of them.
Yeah,
I like Michael B. Jordan a lot.
Yeah,
I think he's a great actor.
Yeah, that's supposed to be coming out August of next year.
Is it a TV series?
No, it's gonna be a movie. It's going to be a movie.
Okay.
Supposedly, it's going to be inspired by the original plot of the first season.
They got to go back to that vibe, man. These were just cool cats taking care of business.
Yeah, it's supposed to actually be set in the 80s.
Okay, well, that'll make it even better. It's all the neon.
Joseph Kosinski, who did Top Gun, Maverick, F1, is supposed to be the director of this movie. So.
Look at AJ with all the news.
I'm intrigued.
Man's like AJpedia over here. He's got all the answers. He's like AJ AI. You should start that, AJ. I am AJ AI.
Yes, ask me anything. It might be wrong, but I'll give you an answer.
That's right. We'll say it anyway. It's a tradition here on the show. Way before AI, we would just tell you, and AI is wrong all the time too. So
of course.
We were ahead of our times. We just didn't even know. All right, let me get serious for a minute. So Iran, what's going on? What's going on? I went through some of this earlier. Trump dropped he dropped a nugget out there today. It's got a lot of people intrigued as he continues to be pressed by sort of the mainstream media folks that were in attendance at the Mullins swearing in today for Homeland Security. They kept asking him about, who are you talking to? What's the Iran thing? What are we doing? And like he's going to tell them. If there's anything he's not going to do is tell them. And he's going to keep maximum leverage. So we're now deploying some more troop-type forces, 82nd Airborne going into the region. Y'all, there are a million reasons they could be doing that. One, we got to backstop ongoing efforts. Two, we might want to control Karg Island even in the aftermath of this so it doesn't fall into unstable hands. If there's a transition in the government, that would be reasonable. That's not a shooting war situation. That's a guarding the infrastructure, because if you don't like paying $5 for gas, you don't want Karg Island to go down. That's as bad as the Strait of Hormuz in some ways, at least to the Iranians and the world oil market. So to stabilize the region, Trump is asking a multinational coalition to start coming in with ships and ground troops to guard the shores and to ensure the safety of the cargo ships. And we've got a contribution to that too. We're the ones that went in and broke the place. I don't think this is an invasion force where we're going to be getting into a ground war. Trump is speaking completely in terms of de-escalation and negotiation to stop all the hostilities. We're done with the major stuff, unless there's another reaction or something like that. But Trump said, and I'm looking to see if I have the soundbite real quick. He said that whoever he's talking to, in order to verify that they were sincere and could be negotiating, because again, we don't know who's running the place. We don't. And here's the truth. The Iranians don't know who's running the place. And it's a fact that CNN damn sure doesn't know who's running the place, because they spent a whole day yesterday telling you that Trump was lying about negotiating with the Iranians, because the Iranian CNN is back channeling to, we're saying denying it. Turned out CNN was back channeling to some Iranians that aren't in control of anything. So that's a good sign, because you don't have the fact that they don't have a decided leader right now means there's division in those ranks, and we're going to work with the people that will work with us and have the capability to deliver. When Trump says they delivered, quote, a gift to, quote, us, and immediately I thought the same thing the reporters in the room thought was, well, did they give us the uranium? Is that it? Is that the end of it? We got the uranium? Trump said it wasn't nuclear. It was related to oil and gas, but it was a sign of good faith and a sign, I would suspect, a sign that they were legitimate. You got to figure out who you're dealing with. Do you really have the power to negotiate these things? And he also hinted that they negotiated that they have given up on the concept of having nuclear weapons. If you get a new lineup of people in that may have been on the bubble of the regime's dead. Here's some facts for you. Despite the oil prices and the trouble with the Strait of Hormuz, This is not a military war right now. We're not at war with their military. They don't have a military. Y'all, so hard for people to get that. They don't have a military. It's gone. We destroyed it in days. What they do have is still some capability to launch terror-style attacks with what's left of their missiles. They've got some drones left over. That's not a military. That's some equipment. That's some silos. That's some fast boats hiding out. They don't have anybody in charge to execute it, and there's still people in the fight. So we're doing mop up with that kind of stuff with our capabilities. We totally controlled the sky. They don't have a Navy. And now we're negotiating with somebody that's trying to assert themselves as the leader, who's delivered something to us that Trump thought was a good gesture and a positive. Let us know we're dealing with, one, reasonable people, and two, people that do have some amount of control or authority. And that could be the end of this thing. The markets tended to like that news. Prices started going up after that. They were right at the even level on the Dow today. They were down a little bit. They were up a little bit. Oil kind of stayed right around $90, $91, $92 all day. But y'all, those are good signs. As we wind down, there's no volatility. In other words, the oil markets didn't shoot up or even go down too fast. You want things to be reasonable and to head in the right direction based on reasonable news, reasonable headlines, things that are being worked out. And I get a sense that's what's happening. You got good stuff being reported out of there every other minute as we try to leave something behind that the region can work with. Now, there are countries in the region, despite the fact that there was this line. And if y'all bought into this stuff, I mean, I'm not even going to insult you. Just try to check yourself from being gullible to influencers online and people don't have real information, or people that are dug in. Say if you got an anti-Semitic podcaster on the right or the left, and that's their worldview, you're not going to get the truth from them. They've got a worldview, and their worldview, like CNN and the others, is we have to look bad in this somehow. This has to end poorly somehow for the United States. I'm never in my life going to pull against the United States military to lose a war or have losses. Where did we get to? Just because somebody has developed some deep-seated hate for Israel or whoever else in the region. So to compound that, today Israel apparently is, I guess, going a little bit rogue, saying they don't want an end to the shooting. They're going to continue their bombing campaigns. And but you got Saudi Arabia saying the same thing. They're saying, we're going to gear up. We got to go in harder. I think the common goal that the region wants is the complete dislodgement of anybody associated with the previous regime, not to negotiate with the previous regime with maybe some more sane players, but to decapitate all of it and then have a plan to step into that void. That has to be one of the final phases in a phased campaign. Call it a war, call it a military action, whatever. You got to work smartly, and I think that's what we're seeing now. Trump didn't telegraph this stuff. The media attempted to guess at it. They were wrong at every turn. And now that we see what's happened, we see what the phases were. Phase one, you go in and blind them, take away their ability to see anything or to shoot at anything in the sky. Boom, done. That was done in hours. Step two, you take away their other military hardware that are easy to see once you've got control of the skies. And that's when the Navy boats started being wiped out. We've knocked out almost 200 ships. I don't know what they got left, but it can't be much. I think their entire Navy was only close to 400, and that was small boats and all that too. Then you take their production capability to build missiles and to make nuclear weapons and to build ships. And so we start going after the factories and the supply lines. But so far, we've been able to spare the energy infrastructure. Because if you can leave that in place, then you don't have a continual oil spike disruption. You've got a smoothed out plan. And then Israel's been going after the personnel. They're the ones that have really been doing the leadership decapitations, and they're the ones with the intelligence on the ground with the apparatus that can find the locations of these people. Some other good word today was that the Iranian people are turning in these Iranian captains in the IRCG that have been shooting at them and killing them. They're texting and getting messages out to the Israeli military and intelligence to exactly where these people are. They're looking out their windows and spotting someone that needs to be offed and calling in airstrikes, just regular old Iranian citizens. They got a whole program for that right now. That's a good sign from on the ground. We got good signs coming from the air, and Trump's hinting around like these negotiations are making progress. We'll see. He's given them to what? I think Friday, and then we may go after some more infrastructure. If this continues, we may not even be talking about this that much in 2 weeks, at least in terms of instability. Fascinating day today. All right, man, I talked too much. We got to take this break. Let's do that. We'll come right back and get things squared back up for the next 2.5 hours and your phone calls to Leland Live. Man, I stretched that last segment out way too long. Danny Knowles is with the Knowles Group. Man, I'm sure they've been busy lately with some of their clients because when the markets get volatile, I said it the other day. I wonder if they get more calls on the big up days than they do on the big down days. But if you trust their system, and you should, sit down with Danny and his team and let them play the long strategy with however they do it. I don't even know how they do it. I understand the philosophy behind it because with their experience in those strategies, you don't have to worry about markets like this. Your money will be there in the long run if you play the long game. Let them talk to you. Let Danny sit down with you and his team, and y'all decide if it's something that fits you. It's the KnowlesGroup.com, Noles, the KnowlesGroup.com. Y'all reach out to them. Listen to their show on Saturdays, too. Understanding Your Money right here on Talk 99.5, the KnowlesGroup.com. All right, 3:35 Leland Live. We're going to truck on along this afternoon, and let me talk to y'all about Douglas Cooling and Heating. I got to get them out here in the next couple of weeks. We've been trying to plan all my spring stuff. Time for you to do it too. Now that air conditioner season, we may be able to turn everything off the next several days, but it's definitely going to be heat and humidity. It looks like after that, as we get into April and the storm season, y'all let Douglas come do your cleanup and your tune-up. It's so important to get this stuff done on a regular basis. You're just being a good homeowner. I'm going to give this little lesson again. I always say it when I talk about Douglas, but you wouldn't think about driving your car all the time and never changing the oil, never checking the antifreeze, never doing these things. It's a mechanical thing. You got to take care of it. Same thing with your heating and air. It's got electrical circuits. It's got a charging system. It needs to be charged up from time to time and checked, and the pressures. And I don't even know what's in there. That's not my bag. It's Douglas's bag. That's why they come to my house twice a year and check us out, make sure we're good to go. They'll clean it up, get all the dust out of it, get the gunk out of it, check all the things, and then go in your house and check all the registers, make sure you got good flow, and then you're good to go for the rest of the year. If you need a replacement, I'm telling you, take old Eland's advice and get that done while the weather is mild and you're not in a rush and you're not in an emergency situation. If you know you've got a system on its last legs, a good time of year to do it. If you wait till it breaks, it's going to be the hottest day of the year. You're going to be in line with everybody else that had the same problem. So do it now in a controlled environment when you're not in a panic, and reach out to calldouglas.com. They'll take care of you. They'll get it installed, do it right, give you the extended warranties. Calldouglas.com. That's the website we've given you for years. Man, they've been taking care of me for going on 17 years, over 16 years of help at the different homes I've owned in that time frame. CallDouglas.com, license number 2017181. By the way, they do have a plumbing division. Let's do a couple of other stories, and let me squeeze some things in while we're bopping along. Just saw this come up a little while ago. We had that Air Canada plane that hit the fire truck the other day at LaGuardia, and it turns out among the many problems there, it looked pretty simple from the video. You know, had a plane landing, and a fire truck didn't get the warning or didn't get a warning in time to not cross that runway. In fact, you could even say was given clearance to cross that runway. So it seemed to be a control tower problem. But now we're learning about little things, redundant and backup systems. The fire truck did not have a transponder that they put on some of these vehicles that run around on the lanes on the tarmac to trigger a warning system. In other words, if they didn't hear the radio call, there's a transponder that sets off an alarm, and it alerts them to stop the truck or turn around or whatever it does. And the thing wasn't even outfitted with that. I don't even know how that's possible. It's one of the very busiest airports in the biggest city in the country, one of the three there. And everything on the ground ought to be triple checked. And I know there's going to be a lot of second guessing. I will tell you that when I heard the air traffic audio immediately after this crash, when the guy said, "Man, I messed up," I felt sorry for him. They're in a tough situation right now. That's a difficult airport anyway. And the guy seemed to really own it in the moment. And whether a lawyer would tell you to say that or not, and they would tell you not to say a word, of course, if it's a sequence of other things, staffing, for example, a lot of that's being questioned right now. How many people did they have doing too many jobs in that tower? Yesterday, Sean Duffy said they were only 4 controllers short of the goal of controllers that they have for that tower. So there'll be a lot of postmortem. I think there was a news conference a little while ago. I couldn't dig too far in it because it was going on the same time Trump's news conference was going on. So I was trying to keep up with both. But if anything else breaks on that story, we'll have that for you today too. And I'm trying to make sure there's nothing else I need to shove in. Later, I'll talk about this. RFK Jr. came out, and we've attempted to do this many times in the country, but they're going to now require there's a specific label that'll be put on at least meat products, and it's got a very distinct logo, and it's called Product of the USA, and we're calling these Product of the USA labels. And there's supposed to be a little more truth in advertising as a campaign they're trying to kick off with the FDA, I would suppose. You know, over the years, we'd have something that says USDA certified, but what does that mean? Then you'd have they just put an American flag on something that came, especially with fish products and shrimp that got dumped in here to hurt our shrimp industry. They would slap labels on things that make it appear to have come from the United States. or having an American branded company, but the beef's coming from somewhere else. So yeah, to put integrity back in that program and for us to be able to eat our own domestically grown products, I think food security is a national security issue in terms of our production and supply chain. We got to kick the Chinese out of these packing plants and out of these farm ownerships too. So anyway, that was a thing that was announced today. We may get into it a little bit more later in the show. Let's hit the phones like we were talking about. Again, that number, if you're a newbie, listeners every day, and I give the number too fast. Everybody says I give it too fast. 545. Just remember those three because the rest is our frequency. 995 and then 9950. Talk 995. That's us. And we'll go to Poe on line 1. He's called us today. What's up, Poe?
Man, Leland, AJ, and Leland Live Nation, what's happening?
There you go, man.
First, I want to say R.I.P. man, our boy Chuck Norris, man. It was good cat.
Yeah, I liked him. He was a legend. Yep.
Yeah. And about the air traffic controllers, man, I want to say this, and I want to say what I really called in for. But those people, man, you got to respect those people because me, I'm an all firefighter for over in Birmingham.
Yeah.
Those people, they got a real important job, man. You know what I'm
saying? Sure they do.
Me, I would tell the kids, if somebody, the parents or whatever, got kids out there, to talk to them, they're going to go to college, have them to go try to go into that field. And it's a federal job or whatever. But I know with everything that's going on, that it'll be a good job for the kids that's out here that don't think about stuff like that. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I would just advise the kids to look at something different and to go into stuff like that because those people got a real important job.
And the economy's, Poe, the economy's changing, especially with all this AI stuff. You're going to have skills in the future to have a real job. Anything that,
right.
If people that work with computers and work with screens, they're going to be replaced by all this AI stuff. So,
right. And one thing I want to say, I want to give big ups to the people in Birmingham, the air traffic controllers in Birmingham go around. Those people, man, they real professional. You know what I'm saying? Because we have to talk to them on radio checks in the morning time when we go there and talk to them. But me, on my part, I think they real professional. They real professional people, man. They're gonna let you know when to stop at the whole lines and do what is need to be done. So I just want to.
Well, how did you relate? Hold on, Poe? How did you relate to that fire truck? I know these are airport fire trucks, but man, you're in that big old truck running across a runway, and good Lord, and you get hit T-boned by a plane. I mean, as a firefighter, what'd you think of that?
Man, hey, I felt for my fellow firefighter. That's all I can say. You know, feel for the fellow firefighter and the air traffic controllers. You just feel for everybody that's involved. You know what I'm saying? So
no doubt.
The blame or whatever, but you just basically just feel for your fellow firefighter that was in that ARF truck, and you just put your heart out to the air traffic controllers on these jobs that's doing this stuff and trying to handle their business, man. So that's basically all I can say about that. On that.
I got you.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
You know, but the thing is, I watched it because I didn't know about it until yesterday when I was listening to y'all, and I went home and watched Wheel of Fortune and saw Damien. He did good. That's my first time watching Wheel of Fortune, y'all, in like 10, 12 years. I ain't watched Wheel of Fortune in so long. I bet you I ain't even watched it, but when Pat Sajak was still living, it's been a long time. But Damien, he did a good job, and hell, I was solving puzzles with him. So
yeah, that's right. There you go. Good job.
My first time watching.
We were proud of Damien, man. He did great.
Yeah, and another note, I'm gonna let you go. That Miami Vice episode that you're talking about, that's the very first. That's part 2 of the first season. The first pilot. That is episode 2. It was a 2-part episode of the first season of the pilot, and that was the last part of that show.
So that's the one where they put the song on In the Air Tonight, and they're cruising with the top down. That was just man. That was just you didn't get cooler than that back then.
Right, that's what I'm saying. And now Miami Vice, and you know, I've been watching Miami Vice. By you talking about that, that's all I do is watch Miami Vice now. But that's what you're talking about, and I love that part of the show. And like you said, man, real quick, we don't have shows like that, and they need to get back to television, man, because I'm a television fanatic, dude. So you know.
Well, they need to get to art. That was art, man. That had a vibe and an art that they do everything on the cheap now, and it's terrible. It's like a 15-year-old wrote it. It's terrible.
Right. Hey, but Leland, look, man, I love you and AJ. Hey, y'all keep up the good work. Love what y'all doing, man. And anytime we're going to talk about these movies and TV shows, I don't know a lot about anything, but hey, when it comes to stuff like that, man, I love it. So,
all right,
I
brother.
love y'all. Y'all stay up, man. It's your boy, Poe.
All right, take care of yourself, Poe. Poe out there putting out fires and taking care of people. I love that. All right, let's go to Scott, man. I told you we'd cram some calls in. We'll hit Scott over here on line 2. What's up, Scott?
Hey, bud. All this talk about the Straits of Hormuz brings up a lot of memories. I spent 4 months, 89, 90, escorting tankers through the Straits of Hormuz on a guided missile cruiser.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to tell you a little story and just give people an idea of what it takes to make that commitment to escorting these tankers. Are you familiar with what the phalanx is, the 20-millimeter radar-guided Gatling gun?
I've seen them. I've seen video of them, but I've never been around one that's being shot. I'm sure it's impressive.
Yeah, and we had one port in starboard. So when you're going out of the North Arabian Sea into the Persian Gulf, your starboard side is to Iran.
Mm-hmm.
And back then, we were on the side of Iraq. So we were protecting their shipping.
Yep.
So you had to have that 20-millimeter Gatling gun. That's your anti-missile defense system. So we had one that went down, and it was about a 300 or 400 pound component that went down. So when we went into the Gulf, we would have to get the starboard side mount up, and coming out of the Gulf, we would have to get the port side mount up. So we would have to take that 300 or 400 pound transformer and carry it up a vertical ladder, across midships, down a vertical ladder, and then
Wow.
a lot of times we were doing it with them old cheap right-angled Army or, military flashlights with the 2D cell batteries.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of hanging in a pocket. Yeah, I know what you mean. Good
Yeah.
Lord.
With with a red lens cap on it, and
Mhm.
and then when I set watch, when we did this, we were at what's called Condition 1 steaming, so you're like general quarters the entire time you're doing it. And I sat on a missile console, and you could see the radar outline of the Straits of Hormuz, and forever I could close my eyes, and because I'd sit up there for hours. And you could see the outline of the Straits of Hormuz just burned into your head from that CRT. But I've enjoyed your show, and it's fascinating to hear all the stuff about the Straits. And I spent 2 different deployments over there, and it really brings back some memories, buddy. I appreciate you.
Well, no, we appreciate you for doing all that stuff back then. I mean, we should have been dealing with this problem back in the days when they were originally threatening the Strait, and now we're finally having to deal with it. And if this works, the Strait's going to be free for air forever. All your work will have paid off for good, and they won't be able to threaten the Strait anymore.
Think about how many assets, military assets, have been tied up. That was in 89, 90.
Yep, into Reagan. I remember that.
Yeah, how many sailors have had to go over there and, time away from home and and we had a bigger Navy back then. It was a big Navy.
Yep. And look, the Iranians became more and more dangerous. They were a 10-year-old country even then and didn't have that kind of capability. But, hopefully all this is going to work out. And I got a feeling the plan's coming together. I just do from the stuff we picked up on today. Scott, I appreciate that story, man. I appreciate your service.
Thank you, buddy. You're welcome.
All right, man. There's Scott tonight. We got such a diverse audience with experience, things people have done. And I know it's got to bring back, whenever you've been to a place, a lot of y'all have traveled, and I don't care where it is, around Alabama or around the world, you'll connect with it when you see it in the news. You'll remember being there. It'll bring back a lot of stuff. And I can't imagine folks that have deployed in tense situations where your whole job was to watch intently everything around you. And you can, it does. I would imagine it would burn in your brain forever. Let's talk about Blakely's Bouquets as we head toward gift giving and Easter. And man, this is kind of flower season too. All the natural flowers are blooming outside, but we give flowers. Some people want Easter centerpieces. We got graduation coming up, Mother's Day. Don't forget Mama. Better send Mama some flowers. You can go ahead and get your order in now for that. You're not too early. It's about April. Blakely's is just a wonderful, wonderful flower shop. We all need one in our lives. If you got people in your lives, you need a flower shop in your lives, because people are going to want to be celebrated sometimes. People are going to want to be uplifted sometimes. And Flowers do the trick a lot of the times, every time, really. They've got an easy, intuitive website. That's my favorite part because I'm kind of flower dumb. And back in the days, we had to call on the phone and try to describe what we wanted. I just felt dumb. Now I can look at pictures. that suits me. I'm a caveman when it comes to this stuff. So I can look at what I think looks pretty and just have those flowers sent. Just because flowers are the best flowers, fellas, they just are when she ain't even expecting it. And you can be on there, and within 10 minutes, if you got your payment ready and got your message ready, you can pop everything in and be done with it. Those flowers are delivered by noon if you get it in early enough in the day, around midday usually, around Birmingham. Great folks, too. These are the folks you want to work with. It's two names, Blake and Lee. You put those together, and you got BlakeLeesBouquets.com, BlakeLeesBouquets.com. Back in a minute. All right, y'all. Storm restoration roofing. Talked a lot about the weather today. Man, it's been a nice few days with none of those storms. We had those back-to-back spring storms, and we're easing into it. We've still got severe weather to go. If you wind up with a situation, or maybe during the previous rounds of storms, something might have gone down up there, you're just not sure, but you want to get it checked out. The best roofer on planet Earth, and that's not an exaggeration. I really think you just couldn't be better than Greg Nelson at Storm Restoration in the way they handle people. It's a people business. Yeah, you got to know how to put the shingles on, but you got to know how to deal with homeowners. And, that's a nervous, big-time project when they come out to do this kind of stuff. Greg's going to take care of you. He's got his family, man. These are some of his kids up there on the roofs doing the work. This is another one of those 2-generational businesses that cares about doing it right. Their family reputation's on the line. During a storm event, and I talk about this sometimes, you might get trolls. I'm not saying they're not legitimate roofers, but people that'll show up from Mississippi and Tennessee trying to get up some storm business when a storm comes through. And that's okay. I mean, I admire people that try to hustle, but you don't know who they are. You don't know where they're from, how long they're going to be there, if they know what they're doing. You do know that with Greg Nelson. So even if you don't have storm damage right now, put this number in your contacts somewhere. So in case you have an emergency or just need a replacement, you can find Greg and know that that we sent him to you. It's Storm Restoration Roofing. Here's that number, 205-542-3531, 205-542-3531, Storm Restoration Roofing. Let him help you with your insurance claims, with all of it. They just know what they're doing. Good guy, too. Storm Restoration Roofing. All right, real quick, I'm going to do some pole nerd stuff. I had a couple of things come in today that were fascinating. Over in Texas, I'm keeping an eye on that Senate race because I think it's the establishment versus the world over there. And I'd love for Texas to send a message to the money part of Washington, because they have dumped so much money on John Cornyn's head. And by the way, Fox News, I'm watching these people. They're going way out of their way to assist Cornyn. They just are. They'll stick Karl Rove on. They'll give that little caveat. Well, he's an analyst, but he has worked with Cornyn, and then they'll go hyper-analyze the race, and they're wrong. Their analysis is wrong. They interview him all the time when he needs some help. So that's fine. I mean, that's just the world. But Cornyn's getting his butt whipped right now in the polling. Now, last week we had a poll that showed him down 13. Today it's coming in at 7.5. That's still huge. He's the freaking incumbent they've spent over $100 million on, and he's still just not liked. He's been a sellout. He's been weak, and he continues to be that. And he's done it for so long, it's too late for him to rehabilitate that image. Now, the election's still a long way off. We've got to wait till May before this goes down. I think they vote on a Saturday, but we'll be watching it. There's another poll out today, and this also blows up another narrative that was being tossed around in the mainstream media because of the podcaster wars going on between all these personalities. This Megyn Kelly, Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson sort of acts as so weird. There are others outside of that universe saying, MAGA's coming apart. They hate each other. They're having a civil war. Finally, that coalition of strength for Trump is breaking apart. Not so fast. Today, a new fresh poll of Republican voters, how many of them would identify as, quote, MAGA? It's 65%. It's an all-time high. It grew since the shooting started with Iran. These folks are patriotic. They've got the president's back. They want a strong America. They want a position of strength in the world. And this has not hurt the base that Trump has built and grown since he got into politics one bit. So there we go with that. We'll be back here in just a minute. I hear the music playing. Let's do the top of the hour 1819 news. We'll get on to some other things. Your calls too, 545-9950. Leland Live. Y'all stay tuned.